Welcome back to episode 2 of the Slide Job Podcast. I'm your host, Colton Smith, here joined by producer Josh Northcutt and co-host, returning Chinry20. Welcome back to the Slide Job Podcast.
It's been a while.
It has been a while. You were here though, day one Slide Job Podcast member. So of course we had to get you back on. We have all four of them that watched it. But we have a lot to get today. A controversial Daytona 500, one that looked like it might have been one of the best in a while up until the finish. We also have some interesting comments from Jeff Gordon on Kyle Larson to talk about. We're going to do some overreactions from weekend 1 of NASCAR, and of course give our top 5 power rankings. Let's just go ahead and get right to the start of it with the race recap. I will admit I missed that start, but I didn't miss much because it was only 11 laps. So I was pretty confident in Mother Nature's ability to have her will. And I see some eye rolls, but at the end of the day, I do love Daytona under the lights. I know it absolutely kills the momentum, but Daytona under the lights is just always a special, special treat. And I'm curious what the viewership is of that, because I think it can – having that primetime slot can definitely help. But
I mean, hell, they bumped Family Guy back for NASCAR.
Yeah, I saw there's a lot of stuff we ended up. There's like a Gordon Ramsay show that got bumped back.
I'm surprised. I think they moved to FS1 for that.
Yeah, if it's any other race in the 500, I bet they do. But they know the 500 is pretty much the Super Bowl of NASCAR.
It very well could be in the contract that it has to be on Fox.
Yeah, very true. But going after a 4-hour rain delay or so?
Wasn't it like 6?
6 probably. I don't know.
2:30 to 6. Well,
okay.
No, yeah. So it was about 7 by the time they got rolling, wasn't it? It was supposed to be 6, and then they kept.
It was originally 6 because I remember you texted me that the engines were fired, and so I watched them drive around the track, waste like 10 laps, and then go back down pit road. So about a 7 o'clock restart. Once that got restarted, it was the Penske show, fellas. Top 3 in laps led are Austin Cindric, Joey Logano, and Ryan Blaney. Those boys dominated. And Joey Logano would have led the most if not for he had 2 issues. One was something on pit road, and another one was an engine issue. Maybe that was both kind of in the same
engine issue caused his wreck, the big one.
Okay.
Because he was in the front, that's when it stalled.
Okay, I got you. So he spent some time on pit road, fell behind, and moved back up, but that's didn't make much of a difference because he ended up getting caught up in one anyways. But stage 1 went to Cindric, right? Or no, that one went to Logano.
Cindric won one.
Cindric won the second stage.
Cindric won 2, yeah.
Yeah. Cindric won stage 2.
Blaney won stage 2.
Okay. Well, all right. They're all the same number basically. They all blend in. You all got
I have the stage. I got the stages here in front of me if you want me to run them down. Just like it was Logano, Brad, Blaney, Stenhouse, and Bell were the top 5 of stage 1. And stage 2 was Blaney, Cindric, some guy named Chase Elliott and Alex Bowman, and then Todd Gillian. Not that we have like not that we have like Chase Elliott and Alex Bowman's 2 biggest fans here on the podcast or anything.
Yeah, that's the one we're here for. Yeah, I don't know who those people are anyways, but yeah, I really enjoyed that first stage, and there's still some great racing throughout the second stage and the third stage. But then we got to the end, and it was like Penske was really dominating a lot of that third stage in terms of Cindric and I almost said Briscoe, but Blaney. And so they both kind of were just chilling out in the front. But then we started finally getting a third lane started, or a second lane. We had 3 lanes, but they kind of started combining into a second lane to kind of compete with that. But then unfortunately, those leading that second lane were Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Joey Logano, and Corey LaJoie. You can't make that up. Like all of America pretty much at once said that this was going to end in very much chaos, and it did. And it just the way you thought. Late block by Ricky Stenhouse. Joey Logano still tries to push it, and then Logano's done, Ricky's done, half the field's done.
Not only was it a late block, Stenhouse was clearing out and trying to make the move like 5 times.
Yeah. He was just like, listen, Joey, I don't care if I wreck, but you're going down with me.
But I also can't blame Logano for not lifting right there. I don't know why he took that hole.
I guess that was going to be my question. Like, I know, Colton, all week you were joking. Either Logano was going to win the thing or Logano was going to cause a
Was
wreck
I
and Dylan
joking?
for to have
Well, it's not joking.
Was I joking?
And you weren't wrong.
It's factual.
So I guess my question for that would be, who do you blame in that situation? Recky Stenhouse, as the nickname goes around in a chat that I'm in, or Logano?
I think it's a percentage thing. I think 75% of that goes to Stenhouse for sure, because he was the one pushing the issue with the late block, and then the next one, and then another late block, and there was even a late block like a lap or two before that. So definitely Ricky gets most of the blame, probably more so 80, and I think the 20% goes to Logano just for being Logano. I see both points, and at the end of the day, it's just two drivers that cause most of the wrecks at super speedways, causing another wreck at the super speedways. So yeah, and then additionally down the line, there was a caution in between that and the final one, right? That's the one where Bell went in the wall. It took that very
it took
hard.
Priest into the
Yeah, that's when Priest got airborne, as Priest likes to do. Apparently, I don't think he likes it, but he just has a tendency.
Kind of like Newman.
Yeah.
I won't name the name, but there is a curse when someone attends the races of cars flipping.
That is true. That is true. But
I mean, that Priest thing still blows my mind, and I know I don't understand fully like the aerodynamics of like NASCAR. I'm not that deep into it, and it was a topic of discussion last year because it was happening quite often as well.
Yeah.
I know you want speed and you want the contact and things like this is going to happen, but Priest didn't look like he should have been flipping. Is it just because I think you mentioned it last year when we brought it up? He turned sideways and the car's not built for the wind dynamics kind of that, and that's why it's so easy to flip. Or
his roof flaps didn't come up like they should.
Yeah, and they were saying that's kind of just like the way it flipped. It did a wheelie, so that's why the roof flaps weren't like it was in an area like, when have you ever seen a stock car do a wheelie? Mm-hmm. And that's essentially what it did. So it's in such a weird angle of sorts. I'm no expert on aerodynamics. That one definitely befuddled me. So I don't have the full like explanation on that. All I know is it was a very unique situation that obviously hadn't really been ran through before, and ended up resulting in another airborne flip for Ryan Priest, which he appears to be okay from.
I mean, we had a lot of flips last year, but also look at that one was maybe like a freak wreck too. Just the way the angle was, a Bell hit him.
Yeah, I think the angle Bell hit him, and then I think it was Jones that he also came.
It said so with the wind being strong at Daytona. That was just them trying
wind
to
was also up. Yeah, I think it was about 15-20 mile per hour winds, so that always plays into it as well.
I'm no expert, but is it better to flip though than hit that head on without?
It all depends on the angle. I was kind of worried about it hit him in the back. I know that was
the weird one. That was one that concerned me.
A dangerous like spot for this specific car, so I was definitely worried about that angle. But like I said, he appeared to be okay, and nothing has come out since. So, but moving along, we get to that final restart finally, and it's still Blaney got caught up. Did Blaney get caught up in the Bell, or is he? Yeah, I think he got.
Blaney was in the Bell.
Blaney was in the Logano one because
he was in the Logano.
He flat out blamed his teammate for that one.
Yeah, well, because Blaney was in second that whole time, and I think he happened to fall behind one, and that's how he got caught up or something like that. So so Blaney did end up finishing in the top 10, but then you have the final restart, and you have what final lap, things are getting crazy, it's about to happen, and then we get that white flag, and Riley Herbst wrecks, and like, oh, caution's out, race is over, and he saves that thing. Like, save of the year for Riley Herbst, not words I thought I would say, but very incredible save for that 35 car. To save the caution from coming out. But then here comes the point of contention. About past halfway on the backstretch, you got Cindric, you got Hamlin fighting, and then Cole Custer, first race back in the Cup Series, season opening, takes that opening as he should, but is not able to keep it straight. Hooks a nice left, takes out Cindric and Hamlin, probably the two most deserving drivers in the field at that point. Takes them out along with half the field. And William Byron, he has this. I think he might have had this thing where his car became you couldn't just invisible, and then it became revisible because I swear I didn't see who it was, and they're like, oh, that's the 24. No, but seriously, William Byron, back-to-back Daytona 500 champion. But the real kicker here is that wreck happened on the backstretch, and NASCAR did not call a caution until the leaders passed the line, which is not something I disagree with, but it's the inconsistencies. And I want to let you guys talk about it before I get into it, because we know I could go off here. Josh, you want to start?
Yeah. When I saw it happen, I kept just asking. I'm like, "Where's the flag? Where's the flag?" Now I kind of agree with the situation of how they called it. The drivers are past there; they're racing back to the line. What's happening behind them doesn't matter much. It's not affecting the end of the race. But wasn't it Eric Jones's situation of a flag just being thrown? Just last week.
Yes. In the duels on Thursday, Eric Jones and Austin Cindric were about 200 feet or 100 yards, something like that. As Cindric disappears. Oh no. But yeah, just about 100 yards or so away from the start finish line. A wreck happens behind him, and instantly the caution comes out. Complaints galore because Cindric had the lead at the time of the caution coming out. But if you wait 0.5 seconds when they cross the line, Jones clearly won the race. And so that here's the thing is like, you got to be consistent. You got to be consistent. There's no room for error here. If you want to just keep it, the caution, do that. But don't read what everybody says on Twitter and then just completely overreact, because there was no sort of competition at the end of that race. It was very clear William Byron had that race. So if they're not side by side, yeah, throw it out. You want to get them out there, because I don't think that you can put the safety crews on the track until the caution is flown. Is that correct, Caleb? Oh, your mic is making some weird noises.
Yeah, you sound like you're an outer space alien there.
You did. You sounded like ET phoning home.
But for my mindset of like everything though, I don't, like I said, I don't have a problem with not throwing it, but again, it does have to be consistent. There needs to be, like, is there not a set of rules? Like, is it just up to NASCAR to push a button and then the yellow comes out?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's pretty much just a button press, and that all the caution lights come out. They have to give a signal to the flag man. He starts, but the lights is what you're basing it off of.
Gotcha.
Do we know if it's the same person doing it every week?
I think it tends to be. I feel like it does.
Because I'm just curious,
I think it's
different umpires have different strike zones.
It's like the director of competition or whatever you want to call that.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, I could go on and on about the inconsistencies of NASCAR officiating, but I think just be consistent, man. Do
you remember last year's Daytona 500? Where they called it, like, as soon as it happened, as Bowman was making the pass?
Yeah.
Maybe because the 24 was in the lead?
Perchance the 24 being in the lead.
You know what, Henry, thanks for bringing it back up, because that just pissed me off even more now. I had Bowman to win that race. Go!
Well, I would like to add, though, I will say, at least in this case, Byron wins either way.
Yeah, that's true.
I will give him that.
But I don't think that's really a credit to the caution. That's just how the situation was. I don't think
back unless the car's flipping or on fire. In that case, I think they need to call it.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I think there just needs to be a certain standard that is set. Like, either we are going to call the caution as we see it, or we need to call the caution once they cross the line.
That
or you can or just put it back to, okay, caution's out, but you can race back to the line. Yeah. And really, this is only an issue, like it can be at other tracks, but for the majority of it, it's an issue that only comes up at super speedways.
I mean, I think unless you put like scoring lines around the track or something too. I don't know. Race to the next line.
Yeah, you can do something like that, but then you're just getting some more. I think the less gray areas, the easier it's going to be, the better that'll all work out.
I mean, the problem is if you have a car wreck in turn 4 and the leaders are taking the white, you have to put it out.
Right. But some closing, any closing stuff you guys want to mention about the Daytona 500 before we move along here?
I was just going to mention congratulations to third place Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah.
Me and Colton joked with Ben when we went off air that we thought when he drafted LaJoy, he was going to turn around and draft Jimmy Johnson in his Fast Five. Well, maybe he should have.
Yeah.
He ended up finding a third place finish, and it was almost as if he won one of his 7 championships. The excitement and the happiness that he felt that all his teamwork, his hard work as an owner, has came through. He got a top 5, but more importantly, Hunter Nemechek Jr. ended up with a top 5 as well, finishing 5th. So that's 2 for legacy in the top 5, which I don't know if that's happened since they became a company.
Probably not.
So, since they switched,
it had to be a super speedway if it has happened.
Yeah, it'd have to be something like that. So yeah, that's a
really
great.
I think his best finish might be like 28th or something.
You mentioned the Fast Five, Josh. I wanted to give a quick shout out to that. We're not making our picks today, but the results from race 1, Ben has an astounding lead of 35, or he has 35 points. He picked Ryan Blaney to win, but he also had Blaney and Cindric on his team. That's a good way to get some good points at Daytona. I will say I looked at like who all we had before the race, and I was like, oh man, who let Ben have 2 Penske drivers? And that ended up
pick 2. That's what you did.
Poorly. That's what Ben did. Ben had 2 Penske drivers.
It wasn't aired, but my pick was Kyle Busch, and we saw that went.
Yeah. Well, you're not the only one on the podcast that picked Kyle Busch, so
he might have had a shot if the recce didn't happen.
I find myself in second place, 10 points back with 25. Shout out Chris Buescher and Michael McDowell and Chase Elliott with the top 15. Josh, you got some work to do, buddy. 12 points this week, 23 points back from the lead. But all that takes is picking a winner. That's 30 points. 30 points that nobody else gets.
Again next week, so it can easily flip.
Yeah, very easy to flip throughout
I have
the
0
season.
points.
Yeah, I picked Joey Logano to win just because I figured he'd either win or wreck, and so 50-50 is good odds. And unfortunately, it went the other way. But you picked Kyle Busch to win. Alex Bowman got you a lot of points, got you 10 points, and he led some laps, so 11 points.
Do you get points for your favorite driver?
No, unfortunately.
Well, he picked them.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's what the Fast Five standings are looking after week 1. I'm excited to see how that develops. But any other notable results before we move on to
I don't know where he finished, but I would shout out
the flag
because he looked good for Rick Ware car.
LaJoy ended up in 22nd, but he was in the top 5.
He was in the top 5 late.
Yeah, he was in like when that last wreck happened.
I think he was leading with like 10 to go, wasn't he? Before that,
I mean, he was leading at the. I think he was on the front row for the restart. I don't know if it's the final restart or the restart before that. Oh yeah, he had
good. Except he's a good plate driver.
And then also Colton, Justin Allgaier had a top 10 finish in the ninth.
Junior Motorsports' first entry in the Cup Series, top 10.
Hopefully not the last.
Hopefully not the last. I saw Junior apparently said something about the future for Junior, so I should have watched that video before we got started.
I'm sure he'll talk about it on his podcast this week.
I'm sure he will. He was a very happy man all weekend, and seeing that look on his face, seeing the happiness on Kelly leads me to believe the
problem is the turner system's the hardest part to get in.
Yeah, they made it a little easier though, making it three charges so people won't expand to 4. But yeah, I get it. I feel like they need to expand the charge system a little bit. Yeah, for sure. Eric Jones ended up in 12th. I'm just glancing here at some of the results. Chase Briscoe, the pole sitter, got 4th. I feel like that hasn't been talked about enough. I kind of expected him to have the pole jinx, but 4th place, great finish. Ty Gibbs was I don't think I heard a single thing about Ty Gibbs all weekend long.
Have you heard anything about Ty Gibbs since the second half of last season?
That's an outstanding point. Justin Haley, a sneaky guy that Josh was talking about and I was talking about, he ended up in 19th. Larson had that thing with Gordon. I don't think we're going to get to that today, but finished in 20th. He said that he feels like every decision he made was the wrong decision, and Gordon agreed. Like he said, yes, yeah, absolutely. And he said it's something mental with Larson at the super speedways. At the end of the day, I don't find it to be that big a deal. Once he gets off of those, he's fine. But it's interesting to see the best driver in the world having a struggle at such what we consider to be an easy track to drive at.
Kyle Busch could be a guy we could be talking about Kyle Busch, and in 10 years about, is he ever going to win Daytona 500?
Hard to see it now. Hard to see it now for sure.
I mean, he's
anyways,
let's 32 other races a year.
That's very true. Well, now we're down at only 30 non-super speedway because Atlanta.
Oh yeah. I think Atlanta's shading the other way though.
I hope so. Let's go ahead and move on to the flag segment. So if you're new, this is just, hey, green flag, this is going to happen. Yellow flag, maybe, maybe not. Or red flag, not at all. The first one is, or actually, Josh, you're the one that says these. My fault. Got ahead of myself.
Oh, you're good. I mean, yeah. So for lead the flag, we'll go ahead and, Colton, you can start it, though. Is this William Byron's year?
I'm going to go ahead and overreact the hell out of this, wave that green flag, because guess what? The last driver to win the 500 and the championship, Jimmy Johnson, Hendrick's due. Who's going to win at Hendrick? The guy who won the Daytona 500, William Byron.
What about you, Chenner?
I'm going to give it a green. I don't know if it's a championship, but I think he wins more than 5 races.
Okay.
Wow.
It's hard to guarantee a championship in this kind of.
Yeah, it's very true.
But I can see him winning 5 or more races.
All right, for me, I'm gonna go ahead and still throw the yellow. I had him as my final 4, so I mean, obviously he's got a chance, but I still don't see him getting it done when it matters most. Mm-hmm. Does NASCAR have the worst officiating in sports, Chenry?
I'm going to give it a yellow. I don't think we're at the worst. We still have the NFL, and MLB is pretty bad too.
Yeah.
So yeah, but we're in the top 3.
What happens when you mix green and yellow together? That gets you like
orange.
Why is that color?
No, that's color.
That's red.
No, that's red and yellow.
Yellow and green.
So what's in between? There's no way we're not.
No, because yellow and blue makes green. So no.
So there's just no color in between that? I guess just a greenish
maybe
yellow.
Brown, maybe brown.
A light green.
A light green. I'm giving it like a
dark
light
yellow.
green. I would say more so a darker yellow. Okay. I think that's the side I'm.
It's a green flag with a yellow piece of tape across.
I'm putting it in between a yellow and a green. I should have just said yellow. That would have been a lot easier. I think there are some instances for sure. But all in all, I would say, yeah, still NFL, MLB might take the cake on that one. And NBA.
It's consistency.
I was going to say, I'm going to stick with the yellow as well. Officiating around all sports are bad right now.
Yeah.
And I'll just, as an avid gambler that I'm now allowed to admit it on other podcasts, as an avid gambler, it is something that needs to be fixed so we don't have incidents such as what the NBA has.
Needs to be fixed, you mean?
Yeah. No. But to prevent that situation of referees playing involvement of where they could be making bets. So until somebody in NASCAR gets busted for that, the NBA still has it worse.
The one thing I want to add is you can feel NASCAR pulling the strings though when they make an officiating move. I feel like more so than the rest of sports. You can just feel that string being pulled on Cindric getting the win instead of Jones. They sat there and looked at it for the longest time and then decided to go with that. And it was the right in that scenario. But yeah.
That's the right call, but Byron beating Bowman.
Yeah, now that one
24 to win the Daytona 500. No big deal. Musa. And last question. Is NASCAR overdoing it with the super speedways? I'm also going to throw the yellow here, which is probably going to surprise Colton because I am Team Super Speedway. I absolutely love it. However, incidents like what we had happen yesterday are just because super speedways. We don't have that happening anywhere else. Oftentimes, the best cars will find a way to win the race. But more and more I see it, more and more Colton's right. And it's honestly just taking luck to avoid an accident and then 1 or 2 right moves. Because even Byron said, he's like, my plan was to get to the third row, but all he did was hit the gas and hope he gets through. That was his move, and then he won the race. Colton, your take.
Waving this green pen right here, the darkest of green flags. Yeah, we're overdoing it. I think 4 is enough. 5, maybe, but 6, I think it's just we're oversaturating the market right now. People are getting tired of super speedways. The fact that we have to start the season at 1 and then have the second race be 1, I'm ready for some real racing, man. Like, Come on, and it is real racing, but yeah, I'm waving the green flag. We need to spread them out at the very least, spread it out.
Definitely agree with that, Henry.
I'm gonna give it a green. I mean, I think I'm okay with Atlanta being a super speedway, but they should only get one race if they do, and make it the summer race. It doesn't need to be the second race. We have to wait till race 3 is a road course, which we do have more road courses than before. But we're waiting to race 4 at Phoenix before we can really tell who's legit speed.
That's what you meant when you said Coda. I forgot Coda's the third race of the season.
Yeah. That's what this schedule is so weird.
I mean, we do have more road courses than ever before, really.
Yeah, and I don't feel the oversaturation because it's not as formulaic as a super speedway is. It's like super speedway, you know what you're getting.
I do think road we do have a back-to-back road course.
Yeah, I mean, we don't need any more road courses. Don't get me twisted on that, but
I think we're at a decent number.
Mm-hmm.
But super speedways, 4 or 5 is the max.
Yeah, and Texas. Don't even think about it.
If they
I heard
do
you were.
Texas, wait till Atlanta's converted to whatever.
Wait till to. That's a good point. If Atlanta stops being a super speedway, then Texas, you're fine.
And then if you by chance you do, cut Atlanta's Atlanta's races.
Yeah. No complaints there.
But Atlanta's Atlanta's been the best one though.
I would say Atlanta's been kind of like a hybrid.
This is true. I hate that Atlanta gets, but you're not going to take a Daytona spot, and you're not going to take a Talladega spot.
They sell too many tickets.
So Atlanta's
TV market tickets.
More, Atlanta's just the easy guy to shove out. But I would definitely agree with you that Atlanta is the only super speedway race I really find enjoyment watching, from start to finish. So
Daytona just gets the hype because it's the first race of the year.
Josh. That's true. That's very true. And it's just the whole history behind it.
But I hate having to wait till like race 4 to figure out who has real speed.
Yeah, I agree.
And even then, it's Phoenix, which is a different type of track.
Yeah, that we know Penske's just going to dominate.
Overreaction time.
Yeah, let's go ahead and overreact. And my overreaction for the Daytona 500 is actually that Chevy is cooked. As a Chevy fan, I didn't really like the speed they brought this week. I felt like there was Ford and Toyota really seemed like the more cohesive groups, the faster groups throughout the weekend to me. And I'm sure they'll figure it out. I'm sure there'll be tracks they'll be good at, and they'll be fine. But then I feel like if this week were Chevy's full season, then this is kind of troublesome. Josh?
For me, it's somebody we talked about a little bit earlier, but I believe now that Stewart Haas is now just Haas Racing in one car. Cole Custer is going to find his way to victory lane this year.
Okay.
He was hanging around up there, and like you said, if he bumps Denny the right way, we might be saying Cole Custer, Daytona 500 champion. So I think with 5 other potential super speedways, and also correct me if I'm wrong, Haas is still Ford, yes?
Correct.
So they'll bring some speed to some other maybe short tracks. I think Custer may be good enough to find a way to get that Haas car into victory lane.
Yeah. I mean, he's done it before, and I wouldn't be shocked. He's had some good runs in the Xfinity series at super speedways. So that's definitely, I didn't want to hear it, but yeah, probably. Jenry? And what is your overreaction though from Daytona 500?
Legacy improvement.
Okay. I like that. Yeah, go ahead.
They have a year of Toyota.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can't really base off of Daytona, but they have a year of Toyota, some more data, and they're doing this on their own without Gibbs. I think Eric Jones is a good driver. I think Nemechek will improve. Not anybody else, right? Just those two.
Yeah, just those two.
Yeah, and
Jimmy was
whatever races he runs.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, I'm not saying like top 10s every week, but I'm saying
playoff.
It's just I could see one sneaking in.
I predict Eric Jones would find a way to victory lane this year.
Jones could, and Jones can win it in on super speedway.
Hey, we know Jones, Darlington.
Yep,
he loves that place. He loves that. That'd be a good place to get it back on the map. Is it? Yeah, they still got the 2, like one in regular season, one they're in the opening. So I like that. That's might be the best overreaction I think of all 3 of us. I think that might be the one that has Cole Custer getting it there as well. I think Chevy will be fine, but we'll see. But let's go ahead and move along to our power rankings. I feel like probably number one is pretty consistent across the board. But Josh, do you want to get started?
Sure. I'm gonna basically switch my 1 and 5. At 5, I'm gonna keep Kyle Larson in the top 5. He still belongs in the top 5 of power rankings. He's still the best driver on the planet. But the fact that his boss, semi-boss, whatever you want to say, is also saying, "Oh no, you're fucking up. You're messing up in your head." There's something there. Number 4, I'm going to go Christopher Bell. He was running really well during the race, was up front when he got caught into the accident. Still think he's really talented. In case you watched the first episode, my top 5 drivers are going to be the same. They're just bouncing around. Number 3 will be Tyler Reddick. Top 2 finish, best run he's ever had at Daytona 500. He was very happy with it, but obviously he was a little disappointed, as only Tyler Reddick can be, finishing in second place.
Of course.
Number 2 is Ryan Blaney. It finished in the top 10. Well, won stage 2, finished in the top 10 in stage 1, and then despite wrecking, still got a 7th place finish. I know Colton was advocate and banging the table and actually picked, I believe, Blaney to win a championship. This is how it gets done. He makes these things work and then finds a way to Phoenix, and obviously, as Colton mentioned many times, Penske. And then number 1 is William Byron. There's no debating this. He won a Daytona 500. I know you say not to overreact to a super speedway, but it is the Daytona 500. It is back-to-back. He put himself in position to win it, and that's all you can ask for. So Byron, number 1.
Yep. Jenner, what do you got?
All right, number 5. I got Chase Briscoe. Had good speed, new team momentum. That's more of a momentum pick. Number 4, Christopher Bell. He had speed, was good last year. Kind of self-explanatory. Number 3, I have Tyler Reddick. It's kind of same thing. Decent enough, came in second. I think Tyler Reddick could be in for a big year if the lawsuit don't get in the way.
Yeah.
At number 2, I have William Byron. Decent year last year. I don't like he kind of lucked into this one. Let's keep him for number 1. At number 1, I have Ryan Blaney. Ryan Blaney ended last year strong. Has very few races outside the top 10. Won the first non-points race of the year. I think this could be his year.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, I think we pretty well all got the same. I do have one guy different in second, but starting at 5, I got Tyler Reddick. I think getting that, I mean, as a guy not really known for super speedways, it's kind of him and Larson are like, well, they're like the most talented guys in the sport, but for some reason they can't figure out super speedways. Reddick has gotten better over the past year or so and kind of culminated to the 2nd place finish in the 500. Luck involved, of course, but that's a great way to start your year. The 19, Chase Briscoe, fastest in qualifying and really kind of fast throughout the race. Fell out of contention for a bit, but ended up with a top 5 finish. I think that's a great weekend, great way to start your year, and especially with a new team and a new organization. So then I have Ryan Blaney at my number 3 spot, but you guys did make some compelling points there about kind of finishing the season strong last year and keep continuing that, having a fast car, leading a lot of laps. So I have a teammate, Austin Cindric, at number 2. And the reason I have that is he was fast in qualifying, fast in the duels, won his duel, and ended up leading the most laps throughout the race. And I think the domination and really up until the last lap, we're talking about Cindric as the winner, not Byron. I think without that, I think it's a great start. And for somebody who has underperformed to this point in his career, I think it's important for a start like this and getting a good finish at Atlanta, backing it up at a road course, which is supposedly in his wheelhouse, hasn't really been in the Cup Series, but certainly was in the Xfinity Series. If we can get a little bit of that back, we could be maybe not, getting the pitchforks and torches out for Cindric like we have been over the past couple of years. And I hope so. I have nothing against the guy, but he has underperformed at Penske. He's been considerably slower. And was he in his 3rd or 4th year with Penske?
This would be 3rd, right?
Okay.
3rd or 4th. Might be 4th because he won what year did he win the 500? 22?
Yeah, because
Yeah, I think
Chevy's won the last
fourth.
3, so yeah, that'd be right.
Yeah, 4th. Yeah.
He did win a race last year.
He did win a race last year, so
Won the fastest car, but had a fast car and got in position.
absolutely. We'll just have to wait and see. But my number one is William Byron. He won the Daytona 500, and that's enough momentum to ride through for a while. We've seen it with Ricky Stenhouse. I'll never forget when Ricky Stenhouse was riding around the playoffs pretty much throughout the midway point of the season, getting some good results. So it's real. The momentum is real with that, especially back-to-back Daytona 500s. Yeah, give me William Byron, top of the power rankings. And, hey, Atlanta's a pretty good track for him as well, especially since it became a super speedway.
He's won there twice since it became a super speedway, right?
I think he won back-to-back, if I'm not mistaken.
He won like the summer, then like won the spring the next year or something.
Yeah, I think it was something like that. That sounds right to me, but I could be mistaken. I know he's definitely really fast there and finishes well there. So it'll be a battle. Josh gets the first pick, so I wonder who he'll take with that first pick on Friday. But we'll have to.
Kyle Busch. No, I'm kidding.
I'll send in my pick.
Yeah, please do. Wait until the next Friday or this Friday. So that's when we'll be previewing Atlanta and all the stuff there. But as far as the Daytona 500 goes, I believe we have gone through everything we planned on going through. But we got a couple minutes here. Is there any last second topics or stuff that you guys would like to bring up?
I was just going to ask Chenry, since he won't be joining us on Friday. Do you have a pick for Atlanta? Just to throw it out there for the people.
I'll go Blaney.
Okay, I mean that was your top of the power rankings, right?
I feel like he runs really good here too for some reason.
I was looking up driveraverages.com. By the way, fantastic website if you've ever been on it. They will break down every stat freaking possible for you. Logano has won twice at Atlanta, once Chase Elliott, once Daniel Suarez, since they've turned it into a super speedway 1.5 mile. And the best driver, not according to this website. Now that could be wrong.
I'm double checking.
This is every race since February of 2022. So, am I a year off? Maybe.
Perhaps. I know he's won there, right?
And then also, ironically enough, the best driver at Atlanta since February of 2022 is Ryan Blaney, who has an average finish of 7.2, 3 top fives, and 5 of the 6 races there, he has finished in the top 10, leading almost 7% of the laps. So it is a very, very good track for Blaney, as you guys mentioned. William Byron has won twice there, by the way.
So I know he won that rain shortened one.
So what must have happened, like I said, is February 2021 is when that race turned to a 1.5. I'm assuming, and it got taken off because it's as of February 2022 when the new cars came in.
He won there in 2022, and then again in 2023.
Okay.
Atlanta. I know Kurt Busch won that first one.
Yeah, that's true. I remember that. So I wonder who you're taking with the first pick of the draft this week, Josh.
I already know who I'm taking, but we can wait.
Well, we'll see. I already knows. I get second, so we'll see how that plays out. But I think with all our piece said, we'll go ahead and call it an episode. Thank you all for listening. What's that?
Is it time to change the start times for bigger races to make sure they get in on time?
You saying like moving it to noon?
I wouldn't say noon, but 1, because it was still after 2 before this one got started. I'm
team move Daytona to night. I think I agree with Colton. If we just talk Daytona, I think I would argue have that on Saturday night even. I don't know what viewership is between Saturday night and Sunday night, and I know you'd have the Xfinity and that whole situation where you guys would be able to explain it better of if you did the Xfinity race during the day, would that affect any? But I would move Daytona to Saturday night. All eyes on us.
I could see Sunday night. I know Saturday night's like a big dip in ratings.
Yeah, Saturday's been a pretty neglected night. It just wasn't really doing well for ratings. You'd have this outstanding race, and then ratings would just be pretty shit.
I think
so.
midsummer's the time to do it.
Yeah, I would agree.
Like TNT's doing a couple,
that.
but I think they don't have much programming probably on Saturday nights.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, I agree. I think the putting it right in the middle of the day, even like weather aside, has always been a weird thing. Consistently, it's around 3:30 or 3.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like, okay, well, I can't really go do if I want to sit down and dedicate myself to watching this race, I can get something in before, but not much if I want to be home in time. And then after that, the day is over. So I've always thought the 3:30 time was an odd time. I'd rather it be earlier in the day. I always like, NFL kicking off at 1. You watch the game, it ends about 4:30, and then you still have some time left in your day afterwards. But NASCAR's different. It's all different. So, but I get the point.
7.
I'm team whatever gets the race in. Like if we got to start it at 11 a.m. Yeah.
I'm just saying,
if we can avoid a Monday race, especially for the 500, and any big race, I think we need to get the time that's most advantageous. And what they did this week, moving it up an hour, I think was pretty smart. So
yeah.
Or they still didn't move it up enough, but especially when you have all those pre-race stuff. Yeah,
I think there's a reason, but
somebody showing up. But yeah,
we won't get into that.
Yeah,
don't want to start nothing.
No, of course not. But
you want to come work out to you?
Of course. Shutting off an entire portion of the stadium is maybe something else. But we'll go ahead and call it an episode here. Thank you all for listening. Be sure to leave a like, hit the subscribe button. Check us out on Twitter at LFC99 __99. Check out Josh at JNorth1989. And Chenry, I didn't write down your Twitter. Was it
Well, that's a good question.
It's like CM Henry, like
C Henry _20.
C Henry _20. Okay, I thought it was different for some reason. You must have changed.
I think Instagram has the M in it.
Okay, all right. Well, yeah, go check out Chenry on Twitter there. Be sure to tune back in on Friday. Ben will be back, and we'll be doing our previewing the Atlanta race and any news that pops up throughout the week. But thank you, Josh. Thank you, Chenry, Caleb, for coming on to the show, and we'll see you all in the next one. Peace.